Alright, welcome back to part 4 of our Range Rover repair series. Just picking up where we left off. Let's go ahead and get the timing cover put on. So if you recall, I plugged the oil pan because there is a small opening here and we don't want to make matters worse. So let's get these paper towels out of here. So before I put the cover on, I'm going to put some RTV right at the edge here where the cylinder head bolted up. Same thing on the other side. RTV right here. Down here at the bottom. So basically at all the connection points, I want to get a little bit of RTV on it. Alright, so let's go ahead and slip our timing cover on. Okay, so before I torque it down, I'm just going to go along the edge with a mirror and make sure the gasket is still seated. Alright, let's go ahead. Run a couple bolts down. Get it nice seated. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and put all the bolts in, run them all down. Alright, so I got all the bolts in, now I'm going to go ahead and run them all down. Alright, so I got the timing cover on, got everything torqued down, all the bolts around the perimeter. So we need to get some of the accessories here on, like the AC compressor, power steering pump, alternator, etc. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and put the valve covers on, and then we'll stuff these intake holes. Alright, so let's get our valve cover in place. Alright, let's run these down. snug. Alright, everything's snugged up. Let's get the other side on. Go ahead and run these down. Alright, everything's snugged up. I think at this point, I'm going to raise the vehicle up, go underneath and hook up everything I need to hook up at the bottom. As you can see, I went ahead and did everything that I needed to do at the bottom. Got the alternator bracket on, got the alternator on. Also, we got the AC compressor on here, and we got the power steering pump on, as well as the brackets. Also got the exhaust hooked up on both banks, so at this point in time, everything's pretty much done at the bottom. Also put the cover pan for the bottom, the splash shield, I got that up. Oil drained out, new filter on. So everything's done at the bottom. So now we could go ahead and just focus on the top. So I think the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna put in our spark plugs and our ignition coils. The specs for your spark plugs, and here's a part number for the spark plug that you wanna use for this vehicle. Also, you can see the specification, the torque specification down there to get the spark plug in. So these are the spark plugs that I went with. I went with the NGK laser iridium plug because that's what's recommended. So you always want to use a manufacturer recommended spark plug. Basically the spark plug that the engineers designed to go with this vehicle. Just because the thread pitch is the same and it may be the same length, it doesn't mean that you can put whatever spark plug in there you want. You really need to make sure you follow the manufacturer recommendations. So let's get these plugs in. So I just coat the spark plugs with a little bit of clean motor oil just to help them go in. So let's go ahead and get our ignition coils in. We got a little bit of dielectric grease in there. That's always a good idea. Keep the moisture out. And on one of my coils, I have a split boot right here. So I'll put a mark on it and I'm gonna put it right up front here. So if I end up getting a misfire on cylinder 1, it's most likely this ignition coil. Same thing on this side. Let's get all the coils in. bolts in. A split coil boot will give you a misfire just as fast as a bad spark plug. The coil won't insulate the spark being delivered from the coil to the spark plug, and it'll allow that electricity to ground out on the cylinder head, and then your spark plug won't fire and then you get a misfire. So always change the boots if you got a split boot on your ignition coil. I've seen it 100 times. We'll go ahead and get these cam sensors in. I think that other cam sensor might be broken because the magnet just spins and spins, and this one won't spin. So won't be surprised if I get a code for a cam sensor on bank 1. Go ahead and free up some of my wiring. So next I'm going to get the NOx sensors in. So I ended up getting new NOx sensors because look at this. The motor got so hot that it melted this NOx sensor wire. And I just don't want to take any chances because look how far you got to go to get to the NOx sensor. So while it was exposed, I just went ahead and got some new ones. Alright, so let's go ahead and plug in the coil on this side, and then we'll bolt this AC line down. Get our wire. We'll put pushed in. Same thing back here. That pushed in. Alright, so now we could go ahead and fasten up this AC line. Alright, so we got our AC line supported, got our coils plugged in, got the wire loom pushed down, got our purge solenoid plugged up and fastened to the back of the cylinder head. So I think we're making good progress, I believe. Go ahead and snug that up. So now I'm going to lay these wires down for the ignition coil on this side. Seems like some type of emissions related device. So let's get this back on here. Let's see. I may have went this way. That makes more sense. Alright, so let's get it plugged in. Let's get this vacuum hose hooked on. Alright, so next I'm going to go for this lower intake so we can get our fuel rail in. Alright guys, well here's the lower intake gasket, and I'm noticing that this gasket is substantially thinner than the original gasket, and frankly I don't have much faith in this gasket, so I'm going to go ahead and lay a little bit of silicone down. thinking it would be a good idea to remove this and reseal this while I got my silicone out. Look how flat that O-ring is. I'm gonna see if I got an O-ring this big. If not, I'll just use the one that's in there and then just put some silicone around it. So here's my largest O-ring right here, and I think this might fit. So it looks like it might fit in there pretty good. So I think we have a winner. So I'm going to go ahead and mount this back on. All right, now let's get the fuel rail in. Alright, so let's go ahead and plug up our main harness. We got another connector in the back, play some kind of pressure switch. Get that plugged in. Alright, so we look like we're in pretty good shape. I think the next component we're going to get on is the upper intake slash supercharger cooler. So we'll get the gasket laid down for that and get that. I'm going to actually slide these covers on real quick first. Out of the way. And I think I want to get the dipstick in too before I get that top part on. Got this gasket on this side. Go ahead and get this gasket on. You can see I went ahead and laid another thin coat of RTV down because this head gasket set that I bought kind of sucked. And these gaskets are somewhat flimsy and not as good quality as the OE for sure. So I'm going to use a little bit of silicone.